I don't know why, but this has been in my head for a very long time, and that is that so far Disney slash Pixar has been coming out with very mediocre feeling films. And unfortunately, Lightyear is one of those movies that has great animation, but just an average told story. Welcome to D.G.A.F review, in which I will be reviewing Lightyear. And starring actors are Chris Evans, Kiki Palmer, Taika Waititi, and Dale Soules. A mistake that I feel like people make in terms of a plot is that a plot is usually the catalyst that helps the story move along. And the plot to this movie is that Buzz, along with his Space Ranger colony, has come to scout out this planet to see whether or not this planet is inhabitable. Unfortunately, it is deemed too dangerous and they try to leave. However, as they try to escape, the planet has other plans, as they eventually crash their ship onto the planet being stranded. And for those of you who are not a gamer, this is essentially Mass Effect Andromeda, the movie. So as Buzz eventually learns to stop blaming himself for the situation that they're in, he eventually decides to switch his mentality and to see if he can actually help them escape. So able for them to escape this planet, they need this hyperdrive crystal for their spaceship. Eventually, the science team creates a prototype that Buzz eventually test drives. However, of course, it doesn't go all that well. Instead, something else happens. As he returns home, he realizes that time has somehow jumped forward by 4 years. And Buzz, feeling like he has nothing to lose, keeps on jumping and jumping and jumping until 64 years has passed by. And a robot cat that was assigned to Buzz eventually comes up with the formula for them to do a perfect hyper jump. And with the previous leaders now being dead, the new leaders decide that it is a good idea to extinguish the Space Rangers. And since they've been successfully living on this planet for 64 years, they decide that escaping is essentially going to be useless for them. And so Buzz, hearing this, thinks that it is his obligation to see the mission through, and so he hijacks one of his own planes and does an illegal jump to see if the formula is correct. Again, 4 years he jumps into the future, but this time it's a success. But as he lands back on this new planet, he realizes that they are being invaded by a robot army. Now, with his main mission done, his new mission is to help his colony fight off these robot invaders. Discussing this movie is actually a little bit interesting, especially when you realize it's hard to talk about this movie and not bringing up the elephants in the room. For me, there's about 3 main elephants that I would say are the 3 main problems of this film, but not truly. But elephant number 1 is Tim Allen not being Buzz Lightyear. Number 2 is gay black bitch. And the third one is, besides the character for Socks, the cat robot, all the other side characters are really fucking annoying. Alright, now let's start with the positive of this movie. I actually kind of enjoyed Chris Evans as a younger version of Buzz Lightyear, but it is jarring at first to hear him, especially since you are expecting it to be, Tim Allen. But there's a certain charm that Chris Evans brings to the role as Buzz Lightyear, and especially since there's moments like all throughout where it's like, you know what, I actually kind of feel the emotion behind his voice and everything. But I'm actually surprised that Disney actually didn't bother going for Tim Allen, especially since this is a guy from the span of over 4 movies, sort of gave us the iconic voice for the character. And I think one of the biggest reasons why they didn't do it is because he's been slowly but surely coming off as conservative. And that's, I think, against the political beliefs of Disney. So I do think it's kind of a stupid reason, but it's probably one of the bigger reasons as to why they probably didn't go for Tim Allen. So at the start of this movie, you eventually run into 2 characters, Buzz and Gay Black Bitch. However, able for me to realize what the hell her name actually was, I had to go to Google. And apparently the character's name is Alicia Hawthorne. Okay, look, I might have a lot of problems with the movie. Gay Black Bitch isn't one of them. However, the problem that I do have with the character comes outside of the movie. I remember being on YouTube and I clicked on this one dude's channel, and in it he talks about an article that was written by some people that I don't fucking know. But in it, the creators of this movie eventually came out and said that they needed this character to be gay, and that had to be like in the forefront of the film. Yeah, and they made it sound like watching these two ladies kiss was like revolutionary for them. But if I wanted to watch two ladies kiss, I could have just typed some shit on YouTube or just watched porn. You see, for me, I think the real problem of this character is that this character, because it's a gay character, gets pampered. As in, I feel like this character gets treated way better than your main character does. Like, for some reason, this character gets the best dialogue, the best scenes, the best character interactions, but this character dies in like the first 20 minutes of the movie. So I'm like, wait a minute, you made the gay character a throwaway character. And it just feels like she's only here to show the kids how inclusive we are having this gay character in the movie. And I honestly think that Buzz and Socks are the only other characters that actually get decent character dialogue and interactions. However, the other three characters doesn't seem to get the same amount of treatment that the gay character gets, despite one of them transforming into a main character. I mean, shit, I sort of asked my mom what she felt about it, and she was someone who enjoyed the movie. And the only thing she had to say was, well, her being gay kind of didn't really do anything for her. So just to reiterate, I do like the character. Matter of fact, I did like the dynamic and the interaction she did have with Buzz, you know? Seeing her kind of be like an overprotective sister or like a mother to someone like Buzz. So my final thoughts on the character is that despite the fact that she didn't really have to be gay, I still enjoyed her for the moments that she was a part of the film. And then there's this character called Socks. I keep bringing it up that it's the cat robot that gets assigned to Buzz the first time he does the hyperspace jump and winds up being a failure. As he skips forward in time 4 years, eventually they give him this character, and in all honesty, yeah, the character is actually really good, really funny, and very humorous without being annoying. And I think a lot of people can agree with me, and that simple little detail is very difficult to pull off in movies like this. Yeah, the only thing that I'll say is that the character is just really cute and look like it's meant to sell toys. And is voice acted very well by some dude named... Man, what the fuck is his name? I need to fucking go on Google right now. God damn it. Peter Sohn. Yeah, so the only thing that Socks is supposed to do is just add comedic value to the role. And don't get me wrong, having characters that add comedic value is usually a really good thing. Unless you're this movie and you decide to add 3 more characters in Mode, Darby, and Izzy, being played by Kiki, Taika, and Dale. The problem with these 3 characters is that they start to feel the same and just reskin to match their voice actors. Like, in all honesty, all these characters are inept. All these characters keep getting into trouble, or getting Buzz into trouble. And I don't know if they're trying to play with the whole 80s theme of like, oh, I'm so badass, I don't need a team. But you keep watching this movie and it's like, oh my god, these guys are so dumb and inept that they almost get Buzz killed, they almost get each other killed, they get each other trapped. And this does 2 things. The first one is to add the comedic value, which they kind of fail to do because it's so obvious. And then 2, just to add length to this film. Yeah, and they try to pull like that manipulative bullshit of like, ooh, feel bad for them. Buzz might abandon them to go alone in this mission. It's like, yeah, y'all don't listen to me. Y'all just do whatever the fuck you want. You get in the fucking way all the time. You keep on nearly getting me killed. Shit, I almost died like 3 times the first time I fucking met you. And I pretty much had to escape on my own when one of these robots fucking captured me. Are you serious? In all honesty, for me, I feel like the only good part about these characters is that they're just well voice acted. I think if you really had to think about it, there really are other aspects of these characters that could be broken down. Like, Kiki just plays a black girl. Taika just plays essentially himself, just more stupid. And Dale just plays a pyromaniac granny, which sounds like the most unique out of the 3, and is at the very least a little bit realistic in terms of her going back to like a juvenile state of mind. But the character still falls a little flat. But she's actually the character that you would honestly classify as worthless instead of useless, is because Darby has been the only one at the very least shown herself to be useful with her street smarts, and actually does some helpful shit during the climax of the movie, like build a bomb. I think my final statements for these 3 characters is that they're boring, They don't enhance the film. Honestly, the scenes with them just talking, you're just like, okay. But the moment like an action scene happens, it's like, ooh, that's kind of cool. But then the movie is like 60% these guys, and so you're just like, eh. I guess the last character sort of worth bringing up is the character that replaces Hawthorne. And apparently his name is Burnside, and he just replaces her because she dies. And, of course, Buzz gets the feels and your shit, but then it's just, this is like a real throwaway character. He sort of just shows up, beats his dick a little bit, and then he just disappears until the end of the movie. So I think everyone sort of knew that Zurg was going to be a part of the movie. So Zurg has been teased, but it's only through a joke in which the robots keep on communicating with each other by saying Zurg. However, what winds up happening is that you figure out that Zurg is unfortunately old Buzz. I think they do a good job of sort of flashing the character every now and then, but you do kind of forget that the character is there. And there's literally a moment where you kind of see him in like full getup, and I did kind of miss the Toy Story budget Darth Vader look with the cape and robe combo that Zurg had. Instead, you kind of get just like a normal purple mech looking thing. However, you eventually figure out that Zurg is just old Buzz, an alternate version of old Buzz because of the whole time travel crap. And eventually, old Buzz wants to try and convince his younger self to fix his timeline along with younger Buzz's timeline. It's essentially the same shit they try to pull in Endgame, but even Endgame kind of failed at it because there's just certain things that just don't make sense because of time travel. And of course, alternate old Buzz fails to convince younger Buzz to help him in the pursuit of fixing the timeline because that would also mean Buzz wouldn't get to meet the granddaughter of his best friend. Yeah, then old Buzz feels like he has no other choice but to kill the younger version of himself. He fails. The three idiots become slightly useful at the end. Yeah, and of course, the movie ends with Buzz saving the world, destroying the enemy, and then all of a sudden the new leader decides to bring back, I guess, the Space Ranger Initiative crap. And of course, he asks Buzz, oh, choose a team. And of course, Buzz decides to choose the three idiots because now they're like amazing friends. And you kind of buy that relationship, but not fully. And the ending scene is literally watching Buzz and the three idiots with socks sort of just go on another space mission, and then the movie just ends. Look, if I was 13 years old, I feel like I wouldn't have liked this movie. I'm a fucking man child, and I can straight up say that sucked. You see, because this movie has bad dialogue, boring to bad storytelling, non-existent character development, and just okay animation. I think by the time this movie was over, I couldn't help but look at my sister and said, man, if DreamWorks had this story, they would have given the character justice. And not just that, they actually would have tried and make it a very compelling film. And for me, this is just lazy storytelling, even from someone like Pixar. For 30 years, ever since the first Toy Story, they've been giving us A tier list movies. So when you actually see this, which is more like a C tier list movie, you kind of just think to yourself, wow, that's a big drop off. I think the experience that you get from watching this movie is almost like being an adult on a baby roller coaster. Ones where you need to hold the child and pretend to be excited. However, I wasn't pretending to have a good time. I knew that I wasn't having a good time. So just to reiterate what I feel about the movie, great animation, great voice acting, cons, everything else. And that's why I'm giving this movie a 4.8 out of 10.